YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Golden, and for today's video we're going to be talking about some creative sim mods that I definitely recommend you have in your own game. So in the last video what we did was we talked about how I made my sims, and I gave some helpful links and tips on how to make sims, just look really nice and have a nice aesthetic. So I wanted to do that for my creative sim mod because I realized I have a few mods that I haven't shared, and some people might be wondering what they are, so let's get right into it. First, as you can tell with the background, it's supposed to be green and blue, but for me it is pink. This is actually a Create a Sim background that I downloaded, and it's called Powder, and I will have everything that I mentioned in the video is going to be in the description. And I really love this background. It's simple, plain, and it's not too distracting when I'm making my sims. Now, there are a bunch of other backgrounds you can download out there. There's a lot of Create a Sim room backgrounds that are really popular. I personally don't really like those in my videos when I'm like making my sims, just because I find the background a little distracting and sometimes it messes with the aesthetic of the sim. I'm playing just by myself. I really like the Create a Sim room backgrounds, and I definitely recommend them. Not saying they're bad, but for me they're just a little distracting when I'm doing my creative sims. But probably when I start doing my Let's Plays on the channel, I probably will utilize the Create a Sim room backgrounds, and I'll show some on the screen of different ones that I like and I highly recommend. So, oh yeah, and let me just introduce this sim. Her name is Riley Hatfield. I probably will use her in the future. I just made her a while back and I've never done anything with her. So these are, if you notice, the columns are 5. Now, I believe, because I've had this mod in for so long, I don't remember. I believe there's only 2 columns in The Sims 4 when you're playing normally without any mods. But obviously with so much CC out now, I just couldn't deal with that, so I decided to get the more columns mod. And this one is 5. This is the maximum that the creator has. And it works for my monitor, but depending on your monitor, just take that into consideration. You don't want to do 5 if you have a small monitor, because I believe it just looks a little bit wonky. So, but 4 is fine, 3, it's whatever. So just choose whichever one you want, but I have 5. So the next one I want to show you is the Stand Still mod. Normally when you're, editing your sim, they move around a lot and it is very distracting. It's hard to focus and it's actually really annoying, especially when you're trying to do their face because that smile and stuff. And so with this mod, they just stand completely still and you can see how the outfit looks, don't have to worry about them making goofy faces and stuff. I believe they still will move and stuff, especially when you're adding traits. But for now, she's just standing still, and it's really helpful. We're gonna do skin tones. Now, this isn't really a Create a Sim mod, I guess, but I feel like a lot of people leave this part out in Create a Sims. So I wanted to talk about it because I'm sure a lot of you probably wondering, how do you get Create a Sim skin tones? And there was a pack that I downloaded on Tumblr, and these are the skin tones it came with, and it's called Bare Skin Tones. I really like the skin tones, and she has this one, so I'll just remind myself to go back to this one. But all different colors, different tones, and it's just so much nicer, and so many variations that I really love. I like it way better than just these skin tones. And these are the unnatural skin tones. I haven't used these except for, I think, when I did my Inside Out colors, but yeah, I think it was this one. So yeah, I'll link these down below so you guys can get some new skin tones. And let's keep going. So I also have a no makeup mod, and what it is basically when you have a sim from EA, when they just randomly generate a sim. You notice, I guess let me go for female. So if you notice, she's not wearing any makeup or accessories, and I believe this also affects in-game when they have random townies. And one of my biggest pet peeves was having to go through the makeup and remove all of it. So now you don't have any makeup, and it's very helpful when you're editing a sim, especially from the base. So they show up no makeup and no accessories. And yeah, so this is just the sim. Another mod that I have is the Create a Sim lighting. So if you notice kind of parts of her arm, and it's highlighted like a pinkish tone. It's not my G shade, it's actually the Create a Sim lighting that I have. And I'll show a side-by-side comparison to when I have it in my game and when I don't have it. And I personally really love this lighting mod. I love the pink and blue. It's just such a nice aesthetic for me. Now, there's a bunch of different Creative Sim lighting mods you can use. There's some that give a really nice highlight to the face. There's some that are a little bit more closer to EA's light, but the one I'm using is called City Light, and I really recommend that one. And that's how you can get a similar lighting to my game, aside of, you know, my G-Shade. Okay, and moving right along with that, now we also have Skip Create Some Stories, and I love that mod. So basically, you know how when you start the game open and you get the stories and they ask you if you want to participate, and that's how they come up with a sim for you. So I have a mod that gets rid of all that, so you can just go into create a sim and you don't have to deal with it. So I will link that in the description. Now, another mod that I use are poses. Now, this is what I use to take my pictures in Create a Sim. Now, there's also in-game poses, but this is because this video is only going to be talking about Create a Sim. I'm only going to be showing you Create a Sim poses. So let me get rid of that. And so what I like about the poses is you can, they're linked, at least the Create a Sim ones, they're linked to traits. And so all you gotta do is click on a trait that has a pose, and the maker will put it in the description. They'll say, this pose is linked to this trait. And you can, let me look for it. Here it is. And look, she is posed. And she's posing. And what you can do is take pictures of the sim when they're posing like this. And yeah, I love doing this. This is how I make really cute icons, zoom in. And yeah, and then they'll stop posing, and the trait will still work like normal. It doesn't affect the trait. They just pose, basically. And since we're already talking about traits, let me go into the next one. And as you can see, these are a bunch of traits that aren't in the game naturally. And these are extra Create a Sim traits that I downloaded from Chinkyu. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I love it so much. These traits are really great because they give just a little bit more depth to the sim. And, you know, because I think I can speak for all of us, we're kind of tired of dealing with the same traits. So these traits are fun. You know, they have their own, I believe some of these have their own rewards, just depending on which ones you download. And yeah, they have descriptions about them. And they work. I haven't had any issues with them in the game personally, so I highly recommend them. They have different versions of their Create a Sim traits. The one I have is the version 2, and that's the one I recommend. Yeah, so definitely check those out. Let's talk about default underwear. Okay, so I'm just going to remove all her clothes. And I realized I didn't talk about this in the last video when this, you know, applied. So basically, if you notice, she's wearing the default, she's wearing different default underwear, bra and panties. This isn't something I put on her, this is the default. So if you notice, this is from the Sims 4 kit. It's like a lingerie kit, and someone made the outfit that, or the lingerie that came from that kit and made it into a default underwear, you know, bra and underwear. And I love it so much. It's my favorite. And you can download different variations. They have all the different lingerie that came with that kit as, you know, default underwear. So this is the one I use, and I'll link it in the description. You can choose whichever one you want. This one's my personal favorite. They also have the ones for male as well. So yeah, I love this one. We also have our tidy details. Let me go into skin details and you'll be able to see it. So these are tidy details, and basically what they do is they allow you to see what skin details belong in which category. So when I say category, I mean like forehead, mouth crease, moles, you know, all those different categories. And the issue with Sims 4, I guess it's not like an issue, but when you're playing with skin details, you'll probably notice that you can't overlap certain skin details if they're in the same category. So like this skin, I can't use this skin on top of that. See, it'll just select this and then it'll click on this. So you can only use one. So it's really helpful having this. It's like a category organizer, and it tells you when you're done with this category, so you can use something else that's outside the category. So like, for example, this is forehead crease. So now this is a mouth crease. So now I can add something for the mouth crease. And it won't, see, it won't go away. It'll just add on to it. So I highly recommend using these because it'll keep you organized, as well as, you know, it'll allow you to see what you can use and what you can't use. Because like in my past videos, I'll be, you know, using, say I want to use the Cupid's highlighter, but then I'm like, oh wait, I can't use a Cupid's highlighter because it's already in cheek mole and I have something else that's in it, like this face kit. So it's very helpful in that regard. I definitely recommend using it if you don't already use it. And you can see it in the tattoos as well. See the upper arm. And I highly recommend using them. They're really great. Okay, so moving on. Now let's talk about the eyelashes. So if you notice, she isn't wearing the painty eyelashes like these. And that, like this in the picture. And the reason why she's not is because I have a no EA eyelashes mod. And it's by Kajoko. That's the one I personally use. I know there's a lot of different ones. And what I love is because it gets rid of the eyelashes. So then now I can use the eyelashes in my skin details without it overlapping and looking clunky and weird. So if you ever, here, let me find them. Yes, these are the eyelashes. And the no EA eyelashes work for any eyelashes. You can use them, you know, you can use any eyelashes, not just Kajoko's. But basically, it gets rid of the eyelash that's from EA, and then you can just add whatever eyelash you want, and it's not going to be there. See? It looks nice. Now, let's do sliders. So, this is also something you can't see visibly, but I have sliders in the game. So, sliders basically allow you to edit the sim beyond EA's limiters. And so, like, for example, the hips. See? I'm moving it up and down. That's the slider. The chest, I have a chest slider, I believe. And I can move up, down, smaller, bigger. I also have like a butt slider. It's like a butt / hip slider. I have a facial slider, so I can edit the Sim's face a little bit more. See, look how I can bring it down, bring it up. Then I can have one where it can edit the jaw. And then I believe I also have a nose. See, I can move the nose. It's a little bit easier to edit the sim the way I want them to be. Now I won't be able to change it back, but it doesn't really matter. So I really recommend using sliders. The only issue is just be careful with the sliders you use, because especially so there's a bunch of outdated sliders and they don't work anymore. They might even mess up your game, so be careful with using outdated sliders. But I also say to be careful too, because some of the sliders can overlap. Like you can't use 2 lip sliders at the same time. You can only use one. So just be careful and make sure you read to see what sliders don't conflict with others. But the ones I have, I'll link them in the description. Those don't conflict with each other, so you're totally fine with those. And then another one that I totally forgot is even a mod is her feet. These feet are by Jisoo, and if you notice, they're much more defined than the EA feet that's like kind of painted. And I love these because they are like a default, so you don't have to click on them, they just show up like this. And they also have, Jisoo has toenail colors that work on the feet, and it just looks more realistic, obviously, and especially for when your Sims are barefooted. And yeah, so these, I think, yeah, you can use any toenail color. Also, one thing I love about the feet too is that when you're using the heels or something, well, not these. These shoes, like, do you shoes, these shoes as well, the feet don't go back into that distorted painted look like this. See how low quality that looks? Instead, they keep their shape when you're using these custom shoes. Now, I can't say that for all shoes. I don't know exactly how it works, but with the people that I use, like GUs, just be careful. Like, I know some of the shoes, I've been having issues, like this Madeline shoe. For some reason, the toenail, the paint color doesn't show on the shoe. But for these shoes, it's fine. GU shoes, they all show. I've had no problem. But like, yes, for this creator, the toenail color is not going to show. So just be careful of that. But yeah, so another one that I have forgot to go over is my font replacement. So you can't really see, like you can notice it here. So I have a font replacement, and I like this one just because, I don't know, it's just cuter. And I've used it for so long I didn't even notice it. But I definitely recommend you guys getting the custom font, and yeah, it's one of my favorites. So I believe that is everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll definitely make another one. If you guys have any questions or, you know, suggestions, I'll definitely make some more videos on, you know, little tips, tricks, things I've learned, you know, after playing The Sim for such a long time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.